Powered by Red Media in partnership with TSN, it is season 6 of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, Canadian Club Whiskey. New to their amazing invitation series this year is the Canadian Club Classic 18-year-old high proof. Absolute beauty. Invite your senses to an elevated Canadian whiskey experience with Canadian Club on the shelves now. Happy Thanksgiving Day, Ray. We can say that, and because we're living in Canada, we're Canadian, and U.S. Thanksgiving isn't that far away. Turkey coma for you, or
no? I was pretty disciplined last night. No, I love turkey. I had turkey, but I was pretty disciplined. I will say I'm flying into Edmonton today. Got the Oilers game against Philly tomorrow. We'll be taking some turkey with me, a little turkey sandwich. I think it's the best remnant of Thanksgiving. I love it. Turkey, cranberry, a little stuffing in there. Oh, yeah. Won't even make it to the airport. I'll eat it in the car on the way. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, with full respect to Tim Hortons, who's introducing a new flatbread pizza. I mean, this thing is wonderful. It's a spicy rosé flavored flatbread, which I'm going to describe in detail to you in just a moment. But I had the pit boss fired up yesterday. So shameless plug, right? The smoker, Mason Dreger and I put on a 6-pound prime rib on the pit boss and just let that baby soak.
You weren't proud of it either, were you? Because nothing like getting a picture of somebody else's food in your text, Jay.
And you know what? That kind of annoys me. I don't know if you're like that. Like, Kelly Rudy used to post those pictures on social media all the time, right? Of what he was having for dinner that night. And good for him. It was always accompanied with a glass of red or a nice ice cold beer. Whatever it was, it didn't matter. And we just shamelessly, in a good way, good-natured way, make fun of him. Every time I'd see Kelly, what are we having for dinner tonight, Kel? What's going on?
And now you're doing the same.
I do the same. I'll stop it.
Yep.
It was like a new baby. I was proud of this thing as it popped out of that smoker. So there we go.
Jeez. You get some pretty tough standards, new baby. A chunk of roast. Way to go. You're a hell of a guy.
Basically an empty nester now. So yeah, I mean, to put a smile on my face when it comes to outside work isn't that difficult. All right, Ray, let's get into headlines brought to you by Tim Hortons, celebrating the launch of their new spicy rosé flavored flatbread pizza. It's a spicy and creamy tomato sauce topped with slow-cooked chicken. You've got shredded mozzarella, you have Monterey Jack cheese, and some herb seasoning tossed on there. Order any 2 flavors of flatbread pizzas for just $12 until November 17th. All right. We're just 3 games into the NHL regular season. And hold on, we're recording this episode on Thanksgiving Day, so it's Monday morning, and I understand there are games early this afternoon. So as we're recording, we're 3 games in. I did not have the Oilers 0-3 to start the season, Ray.
No.
8th in the Pacific. I did not have the Calgary Flames as one of the undefeated teams, nor did I see Rasmus Andersson scoring goals like Bobby Orr. Like he did yesterday. I mean, those teams are headed in different directions, I guess, temporarily. Start with the Oil. What aren't you seeing from this Game 7 Stanley Cup near champion team?
Well, you can say it's not that far off. It's, could be a little better here, could be a little better there. They gave up they gave up 5 power play goals in the first 2 games of the season. Yeah. Their goaltending was, 75% save percentage, something like that. They got all this high-powered offensive talent, and they had no goals 5-on-5, or 1 goal 5-on-5 in the first 2 games. So you've, like in every portion of the game, they were not very good. And so if this happens in November, or December, you figure it out, you grind it away, you got some other games to insulate you. Right now, it's the only thing you've got to look at. And in my experience, you can tell yourself you're committed, you can tell yourself you're engaged, but you're not quite there. And when I watch the Oilers, they're just, in every facet of the game, they're not quite there. They're not quite physical enough. They're not quite committed enough defensively. They don't track back quite enough. They don't get enough saves. I don't know. All that adds up to loss. And it's not like, Winnipeg's a good team. Chicago comes in and beats them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Nobody thinks Chicago's a great team. Calgary's 3-0, and they come into Edmonton, and you would think Edmonton would have had an A+ game last night, and they just didn't. And so, there's this mood around teams early in the year, and we're using the Oilers as an example now. It's like they bring all this heaviness on them. Geez, man, it's 3 games in the year. Go to the rink, have a little energy, have a little enthusiasm for what the hell you're doing, and go to work. Yeah. It's fun to win. Winning is hard. Work is hard. It's a pretty simple combination. You gotta go there and work with a little bit of joy. It's hard to conjure up, but if you go there and drag your lip in there, and every team does it that starts poorly. Every team. Mm-hmm. They're like, we haven't won yet. Look at this, and look at this problem here. Look at that problem there. Like, just go play.
Yeah, I'm with you. So there were 2 disallowed goals. Corey Perry for goalie interference. And
by the way, I loved when he waved the towel. That's that is not goalie. That is not goalie interference. It's not.
I'm so glad you say that because if that's a star player, if that's not Corey Perry and the reputation of Corey Perry, I believe that goal counts.
Okay, I don't know if I'm going to fully buy that. What I didn't like was the explanation that came out that he was a significant presence in the crease. Where did that come from? I've never heard that before. And by the way, if you're a presence in the crease that can have a goal disallowed, then you should change the rule and say you can't be in the crease. Because now, are we going to decide, is that a significant presence or a subtle presence?
Yeah.
Like, this is not as complicated. Yes, Perry gave Vladar a little poke in the back of the foot. Vladar was down. Vladar got up. Vladar moved out and got beat.
Yeah.
Like, he had plenty of time to play his position, which has always been the standard. I hated that call. The other one was offside. What are you gonna do? Right?
Yeah. I agree. Well, I'm glad you're as fiery about that as
I didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it either. And look, we can play the same record every single year, right? Early in the season, something happens. There's a goalie interference call. Nobody knows what goalie interference is. The Situation Room lobs back and says, well, it's the same thing every game. You guys just pick what you want to pick and all of that kind of stuff. But this one just didn't. This was a reputation call for me. That's
what they should have? They should have 5 reasons a goal doesn't count. And the wording should be like, it should be an automatic tick box 3 and send it out. I've never read significant presence in the crease before.
No, me neither.
I've never read it.
That's a new one. That's a new one.
New one for me.
All right. It's a holiday edition of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast. So we're going to zip through the headlines because we've got Ask Ray and Dregs Anything coming up later with Ryan Rashog. And he gets.
By the way, I think I'm going to jump really quick. You mentioned Calgary and Edmonton.
Yeah.
Could Zuby go play goal in Colorado? Could somebody go play goal in Colorado?
You want to go there? Let's go there for a moment because there was a misunderstanding. So Colorado loses on Saturday to Columbus 6-4, right? And we see Nate MacKinnon at the end of the game, basically the end of the game. I think there was like 12 seconds left, like losing his mind on the bench, smacking his stick. I mean, you've seen and done enough Colorado Avalanche games to know that MacKinnon runs hot. Like he just runs. And sometimes it's directed at Jared Bednar as coach. Sometimes it's directed at a teammate. In this case, it wasn't directed at the goaltending, as some thought, which you could understand. It was instead directed at the officiating because there was a botched penalty call in the view of Nate MacKinnon. But I know you're a fan of Bednar. I don't know if you saw his comment post-game. I mean, he's a cool-looking dude for starters. He's got the hair growing now. There's a bit of wave. And, like, he's got some swagger about him. But that soundbite explaining what he thought MacKinnon was so pissed off about, to me, embodies why Jared Bednar is the perfect coach for Nathan MacKinnon and the Colorado Avalanche. He just gets it. And he's like, yeah, you know what? It's early in the year. You know, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Let's just move on. I don't know, man. I got lots of time for Bednar and his approach.
Yeah. I just think he's a really thoughtful, really calm. He's I use the term, he's got farmer smarts.
Yeah.
Like lots of shit happens on a farm, and you would know better than me. You can smash your shovel into the ground, or you can just go fix it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and so Bednar's like, we're not very good right now. We'll just go fix it. Yeah. But it did not go unnoticed. They picked up another goalie on waivers because Onanen and Georgiev are playing dodgeball. And if Jamie McLennan was here, Noodles would pull out the old Steve Thomas line from training camp. Noodles, it's the black thing. Don't be scared of it. Just get in front of one of them, would you? And so, like, 14 goals in 2 games, and they can look at all this other stuff that's going on, but you do need a save somewhere along the line.
You do need a save. Yeah. Hey, you suggested in our text exchange we have Dylan Guenther from Utah on the podcast at some point. I mean, what a good story this young guy is out of the gate. Again, it's early, but he's leading the parade with 5 goals for Utah. And I don't know if you were shocked. I used the word shocked in our prep for the pod this morning when it was announced that he had extended 8 years at $57 million and change. I mean, that was in September. There was zero urgency to get this deal done and extend this kid. Unless Utah management knew a lot more about Dylan Guenther than what we knew about Dylan Guenther coming into the start of this year.
Well, I think a couple things are in play there. One is like when Bill Armstrong pulled the drawer open, there was actually money in there instead of moths. And so they were like, hey, would you look at that? And so they had a chance to sign some guys. And, and Guenther's going to be a really good player. Like he really is. I was surprised they extended him so long, so fast.
Yeah.
One reason I want to get him on the pod is like I think he lives with Cooley.
Okay.
And earlier in late last year, they had their water shut off because they didn't know they had to pay the bill.
Oh.
And I find that very 20-year-old. I just love it because I know when we were 20, all of a sudden we had these bills at the door. And we're like, oh, I guess we pay those. Like, we had no idea. I don't even think we had back then a checking account. I don't even think we had one. And we're like, well, where do we pay them? Like, we had no idea. Call your parents, hey, And so anyways, they didn't get around to it and got the water shut off at the place they were renting. Now he's got $57 million.
So good.
It's kind of funny.
It reminds me of a story, 97, 98, the lone year that I was hosting Oiler games in Edmonton. Back then, the Oilers flew commercial. It drove Ronnie Lowe crazy, right? He was in coach. Drove him crazy. So anyway, Doug Wade, of course, is on the aisle where he should be. He needs the room. Boyd Devereaux is in the middle seat, and I'm in the window. And they just got paid. And back then, they were cutting checks. There was no direct deposit or any of that nonsense. And Waiter and I were killing ourselves because Boyd Devereaux didn't know how to write a check. Like he was describing what the first thing he thought he was going to buy, and maybe it was like a stereo or something, but he didn't. It was how do you write the check? So had to, and I won't tell you what Waite's check was at that time, but you can imagine how many zeros were.
It was a hell of a lot bigger than Boyd Devereaux's.
Oh yeah. Anyway, you tweaked the memory and you said it was difficult even to figure out how to write a check back then. That's exactly the way it was. Connor Bedard. We kind of piled on the Oilers here to start headlines. Bedard 3 points on Saturday versus the Oil. How about that first goal of the year? Right? I mean, this kid has
done that, man.
He's going to bring it. He's going to bring it every night. And, you said Chicago maybe isn't that good, but I think they're going to be interesting at least. There's a lot more pieces working and keeping them competitive and insulated, some of their high-end guys.
Okay, when I say not that good, like, and you say there could be interesting, are we talking like 70 points?
Yeah. that's fair.
Yeah. So I guess, yes, that's better. But Bedard will obviously have these goals where you see him do what he did the other night. Like, get some room, he races up the middle of the ice, and man, he can just shoot the puck like very few people. I thought Crosby had a really cool point in the Players Tour. He said, what's going to happen with Connor this year is because he's seen everything already once and he processes things really fast.
Yeah.
That it's going to be, not easier, but more recognizable for him. And I thought, oh yeah, if somebody would know, it would be him, because even though that's the same for everybody, these guys are so good, they could take advantage of that, take advantage of actually seeing it. For me, it just helped not get my head taken off the second year around.
Sure. What about the Winnipeg Jets, Ray? Why don't I guess we could probably wrap up headlines there, but sneaky good out of the gate. They're going to have some suffering, I think, along the way, just because of what we've already acknowledged. Maybe there's a need for second line center. They've got Namestnikov in that spot right now. Back-to-back overtime wins. And I like the comment, I think it was from Kyle Connor with a beauty to win it last night, where he made the remark that, look, there's just no quit in this group. I mean, it's so super early. It is. But when you've got that line going, Scheifele now is 4 goals. He had a goal and an assist in that win. And maybe it starts with Connor Hellebuyck, or undoubtedly starts.
Well, it does
as
for
the
sure.
Winning goaltender. Yeah. But is there any reason for you to doubt the Winnipeg Jets, or to suggest that Chevy's going to have to get a bit more creative as the year unfolds?
Well, I think I think both of those things are interesting, because I think the Jets are a good team. They're certainly a playoff team, and I think they're going to have to make an adjustment somewhere down the line. They always do. They always try something towards the deadline. Here's the thing, and this ties in with the Oilers and the Avs and Utah, for that matter, like teams, and they look at their starts, that there's nothing really that's happened except a couple of games have been played. We don't know what a team's staying power is. We don't know how long they're going to be bad. We don't know if they've got injuries coming, which they all do. Do they have any depth? Like, if a team's rolling along pretty good right now, it's the start of the year. Everybody's healthy. What about in 3 weeks when somebody gets hurt? And last thing for me on this is that, so LA's got a tie in Boston. They won the opener in Buffalo. They don't have Drew Doughty. Like, that's an enormous hole. You got to think somewhere along the line.
So big. Yeah.
It's just, you're not going to be able to carve around the hole and fill it in. Opening night, Anze Kopitar, attaboy Kopi, gets a hat trick, and LA's off to a good start. But all those things will fill in the next couple of weeks, and you'll have a better picture of what's going on.
Yeah. Speaking of LA, so again, not to date ourselves, playing the Ottawa Senators, the early game, 1 o'clock Eastern this afternoon. And
what time's that?
Sorry,
what time's the game?
1 o'clock Eastern. 1 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Okay, 10 o'clock out here.
Yeah. It is some concern, not within the organization, but around Senators fan base, because Linus Ullmark needed the maintenance day, right? And they called up a goaltender in Sogard. So automatically the faithful is like, like, here we go with our newly signed goalie. But as of this morning, and as we're recording, it's not serious. They're not concerned. He's just a little dinged up here, so give him a bit of rest and all.
What'd be awesome is if one time, if a team said, "Whoa, we're really concerned," just so. But I wish teams could have a third goalie around.
Yep.
We've
talked about this before. It makes so much sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess you'd have to be careful about a team that's able to hoard goalies with money that, that you don't intend to use, but just to have, like, baseball has a bullpen catcher, but somebody like that, somebody that's aged out of college hockey, you pay him, I don't know, a salary that he's the third goalie, and maybe he does some video work as well. Like, I don't know, a way that he can't be used in the game, but he can be used to take the load off the goaltenders through practice.
Or you find a proven winner like a Matt Murray, who many think is certainly past his prime, but he has the major surgeries, says now that he feels better than he's ever felt. And he's okay in a conditioning stint in the American League, and he's okay with being the third goalie of the Toronto Maple Leafs because it fits his family, right? Like the money is there, he's getting paid. So just a unique situation when it comes across the board to goaltenders. All right, Ray, those are your headlines. Thank you to our good friends at Tim Hortons.
Tim's new spicy rosé chicken flatbread pizza, made with a spicy and creamy rosé sauce served hot out of the oven. It's always a good day for spicy rosé chicken flatbread pizza. And for a limited time, get 2 flatbread pizzas for only $12.
It's time for Tim's.
All right, time for Ask Ray and Dregs Anything. You can send us your questions on X and Instagram at Ray and Dregs, or on our website, rayanddregs.com. And I'm not sure if... Oh, there he is. I wasn't sure if Ryan Rishaug was able to pull himself off the mat after a big turkey feast Sunday night and everything else. How you doing, Rish? Feeling good?
I'm good, man. No, the turkey is tonight, so so definitely looking forward to that. I have to say, guys, sorry, Ray?
I was just going to say, I notice your energy here, which is uplifting, but without a bowl of grapes to get you going, I don't know if you would have this. Oh, there is. That bowl was full, and we heard every chop.
I apologize for eating into the microphone. That was bad form by me. I have to say, Ray, full belly laugh listening to you guys taping that headline segment. Your line about Bill Armstrong opening the drawer and there was actually money there instead of just moths. Full belly. We got to get you up early more, because that tends to be when the Ray material comes out. Hey, Drake, grumpy and tired.
Well, in the Stumpy story of Noodles, you see the black thing there?
He was yelling from the bench, "Don't be scared of it, Noodles. It's the black thing."
Lots of good action in the Ask Ray and Dregs column this week. We're going to hit on a couple of those, and then we're going to do a little rapid fire. So Matthew, M.W. Bauer on Twitter, so I'm going to assume Matthew Bauer, says, "Hi, Ray and Dregs. How many goals do you see Matthew Knies scoring for the Leafs this season? Thank you. Take care and keep up the great work." 5 last season, playing left wing here with Matthews and Marner on a lot of nights.
I love Matthew Knies. I think he is going to be a legit power forward. I do a lot of Ranger games, and I see Will Cooley. Yeah. And I'm telling you, Will Cooley and Matthew Knies are the prototypical new power forwards. They're big. They can really skate. They get good hands. Knies in the 20s this year, I think, is not unreasonable, especially playing in the position that he's at. The key with one of these younger guys is that they don't look at the numbers before what they're really there for. Like, he's there to provide that presence of physicality, but strength on the walls. And he might not get as many as he's going to get in the future, because he's not going to quite get to the spot quick enough right now. I just think he's a terrific young player. I'm going to say 21. 17 to 21. 17 to 21.
Yeah. And 15 last season. Sorry, I read my typing wrong. 15 last season.
Yeah, I mean, I would go as high as 25. And, you know, again, all these kids put in the work, right? Every player puts in the work in the offseason. This guy apparently had just an aggressive schedule, kind of split it between Arizona and Minnesota, went back to Minnesota to train there, and you can see it. Like, he is a big, strapping horse of a dude. And that New Jersey game we did on Thursday, I guess was, I don't know if you guys saw it. He was on the penalty kill, absolutely steamrolled Dougie Hamilton. Went right through him like Eric Lindros type back in the day. So
yeah, Dougie thought it was preseason stuff.
This is going to connect the Oilers and the Leafs a little bit here. There is still a large hole left with the departure of Zach Hyman. When Zach Hyman jumped to Edmonton, this guy, Matthew Knies, is helping Leafs fans finally get over that. So we'll see. I think he's 20-plus goals as well.
All right, we're going to do a little rapid fire Thanksgiving theme. And pre-warning here, guys, we might be digging into our feelings a little bit. So I'm going to give you each a veto. You've each got one veto on a question, but only one. So remember that.
Can I veto the segment?
No, you cannot be able to. No, you cannot. You do not have that power. Mostly Thanksgiving themed. All right, let's roll. Which team is more thankful for their star acquisition? Vegas and Jack Eichel, leading the league in points, by the way, as of this taping, and a cup winner, or Florida and Matthew Tkachuk, who went in and has played a massive role there. Which team more thankful for that star acquisition, you think, Ray?
Well, geez, you picked two guys that have won a Stanley Cup, and they're I'm going to say by the slimmest of margins, Florida, because everything that Paul Maurice wanted to bring to Florida is embodied in Tkachuk. I think Jack Eichel is awesome, just an awesome player. But I'm going to pick Tkachuk just by a bit.
Okay, I mean, I'll go the other way, and it probably is more to do with off ice than anything. Like the risk that Kelly McCrimmon and the Vegas Golden Knights took by making that deal to acquire Jack Eichel. You know, Buffalo would not allow him to have the surgery that he needed to have. You know, Vegas did their medical research through Paperson and said, yeah, don't worry about it. You know, there was considerable risk in this surgery. So the good news is Jack Eichel is healthy. The good news is he's earning his $10+ million salary, and he helped the Vegas Golden Knights win a Stanley Cup.
All right, guys, we are thankful and fortunate to work in hockey. This is a write-in, though. Will from the land of 10,000 lakes wants to know if you could go pro in any sport besides hockey and golf, what would it be and why? So if you could be a pro in any other sport other than hockey and golf, what would it be?
Second baseman, Boston Red Sox, bat leadoff.
Picking his team too. I love it.
Not that I've thought of this, but yes.
Purely from a lazy perspective, it would be like a reliever in baseball, or maybe not a depth guy, but somebody who's in the rotation, still commands $5, $7, $10 million a year and doesn't have to play very often. That would be perfect for me.
Right up your alley. Tons of money, not doing much.
Exactly.
Okay, you guys forgot the name of the segment was Rapid Fire, so I'm going to cut your answers to 10 seconds here for this last little portion. For goodness sakes, let's get her going here. And we'll go some Thanksgiving theme here. Most hated Thanksgiving dish, Dregs.
Oh, cranberry sauce.
Ooh. Okay. Right.
Really? I don't know. I like I can't think of anything I like unless there's some like random
Brussels sprouts. You good with Brussels?
I would say some random vegetable that's got like stuff in it. Like you don't even know what it is. It's like, what is that? Right.
Vegetables with stuff. All right, good answer. Actually, the next question was, does cranberry sauce belong at a Thanksgiving dinner table? But
it does because it belongs in your sandwich the next day. It's a key component.
It's like pineapple.
I like it on pierogies.
Nonsense.
I like cranberries on my pierogies. Sorry if that's
listen to him.
Weird there.
You missed that too. He doesn't like pineapple on pizza. Are you kidding me?
Well, like
Thanksgiving party goes late, like 12:30 a.m. late. There's a huge mess in the kitchen, probably 30 minutes of cleanup. You get it done before you go to bed, Ray, or are you dealing with it in the morning?
This is such an easy one for you. Guys know the answer to this. There is no chance those dishes stay in the sink. None. Zero. Cammy is snoring. I can hear her from upstairs, and I'm like, oh boy, a few more knives. I can almost go to bed.
I do about 60-70% of the cooking, big meals included, like a holiday feast. I clean as I cook. So the dishes, all the nonsense would be looked after immediately.
Which fan base in the league do you think is most thankful for their team, appreciates them the most? Dregs.
Ottawa. Yeah, just because of, I know it's rapid fire, but lots of changes. Ray talked about Utah and ownership there. Well, the ownership of the Ottawa Senators, Michael Andlauer, man, first class all the way through. And I think that the fans are in for a higher level team here.
I'm going to say Tampa.
Ooh.
I always get I always see a really good connection when I go there, and certainly since the day when Jeff Vinnick took over, things completely changed, and I see a really good connection there, and that's who I'll go with.
Nothing to do with Thanksgiving at all, and remember, you have a veto each. Name one thing you take on the road with you that would surprise people. Dregs.
How far are we going with this? I'm not
going to 10 seconds. You're vetoing it?
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to think of how I would say it.
I can't believe you got something like this. That we
flushable wipes.
I might have seen that one coming. It was my goal to have Dregs say flushable wipes.
Very important to me.
Okay, right.
Nothing. I'm like, I don't know. Bring workout clothes. I guess hair product. Why would I need it?
All right.
What the hell? I can't match that.
All right, let's keep it moving. Dregs, say something nice about Ray in the spirit of Thanksgiving.
Incredibly loyal to family and friends.
That's really sweet. Ray, what's your least favorite quality about Dregs?
Oh, don't kidding.
Smart assery.
Yeah.
Also fair.
But also maybe one of my favorite qualities of Dregs too.
Kind of lives in both categories. Okay, both of you say something nice about me.
Veto.
Randine.
All right, and finally, as we wrap up our Thanksgiving edition of Rapid Fire, your favorite thing about doing this podcast, Dregs?
Just laughs and opinions, right? I mean, Ray and I don't communicate a whole lot. He has an idea of what we're going to talk about, but it's always amazing to me how well versed he is on every single game, not just the games that he does.
At the risk of this maybe not sounding right, it's actually like, I love the podcast. I love talking about hockey. It's fun. I like that people connect with it and listen to it. This is, before we get on the air, this is as close to the locker room as I get again. Like, I love it. I mean,
wow.
I really enjoy it. We sit there when Zuby pops up, and then we carve him really quickly, and then he goes back and does whatever he's doing to get us on the air. But I don't know. I love this stuff. I just love sitting here and talking hockey and the stuff we get to hang with.
We should air some of that. Like, we'd have to clean it up a little bit, but we should take snippets as promos and just throw some of it out there.
Yeah. You really want us to start rolling the second we all get on the chat together, Dregs? Yeah. You think that's a good idea?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
might have to veto that.
We'll put that behind a paywall. And by the way, guys, I'll throw in one little Thanksgiving note here. Behind the scenes every week, Chris Sabunia, our good buddy Zuby in Kelowna, does such a great job on the pod. So a little Thanksgiving love to Zuby.
And
perfect.
And by the way, Ray, I have a 920 save percentage right now in my men's league. So you were pumping my tires earlier to get me into Colorado. I might need a conditioning stint first, but my puck stopping's there.
How long's that stint?
3 months.
3 months. And does it require any surgery or medical help?
That's possible.
All right, that was Ask Ray and Dregs Anything Thanksgiving edition. Fellas, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Reach. Terrific stuff. All right, Raymond, we've got to land this plane. I've got so much stuff going on here on Thanksgiving Day. We always start the week where I ask you, what's your week look like? So pretty basic. What's your week look like? What's
going to Edmonton today, and
yes,
Oilers tomorrow against the Flyers. Back on Wednesday, and then I don't have a trip till next Monday. So for me, this is a really short, easy week. How about you?
Me too.
You got the game today? Early one though.
Yeah, I'm not doing that game actually. I'm a spectator. I do the radio pre-games for the Ottawa Senators, so I've got to do the pre-game show for the Kings and the Sens. No standard stuff. Weirdly, we don't have a Leafs regional game this week, but still insider trading and kind of beating the bushes. So that'll be the extent of it for me. Have a good one, buddy.
Thanks for everybody for listening.
You bet. Thank you to our sponsors who continue to support Ray and Dregs, make this podcast possible. Our title sponsor, Canadian Club Whiskey and Tim Hortons. And yes, thank you. Stay safe, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.